Let's begin by looking at some of the top movers on the NSE today. That's Athi River up 2 shillings. What's happening behind that counter?
I think there's a build-up in terms of ahead of results, and we are seeing a lot of appetite coming in. We'd seen a build-up towards the end of last year, and now we're seeing also a bit of demand coming through that stock.
Kenil Kobil still remains an investor favorite, but despite that, the stock is down about 50 cents today. The company has continued to invest heavily across the African continent, acquiring over 90 service stations in 2009 alone. Are there fears of acquisition indigestion going forward, and what are the fundamentals of that company?
Today it was down mildly, but really on very thin volume. But if you look at the strategy of Kenil on a sub-Saharan basis, the Eastern Central African region, it's really the largest downstream oil marketer, and it's done very well for itself in positioning itself. If you look at Ethiopia, it has very valuable assets. You look at Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Zambia, and last year in Zimbabwe. So you look at all these units, and you think that as the company starts to consolidate, we'll see value coming out of it.
And how are investors eyeing KCB? I was looking at Rich Management's site today and describes the business as near perfect, the right model, and that KCB is making a major statement of intent. Do you share in this view? And what position are you taking ahead of Thursday's results?
I think we'll be waiting to see, especially on the retrenchment that they sort of announced, that was in the media some 2 weeks ago, to see how that will be treated and how much that will cost. But I think going forward, that well catered for, that's a very good business, especially on the regional front and in terms of the cost base. I think that would be a very good going forward for it.
Looking at another counter that has been named as a stock to watch, housing finance. With the current boom we're seeing in the property sector within the East African region, is housing finance's stock reflective of what's happening on the ground? Results are expected anytime from next week. What are your expectations?
We are looking at earnings growing close to 70%. We had Equity Bank releasing its results last week, and earnings from associate rose about 70%, and housing finance it's only associate. So and that's expected. I think most investors expect housing finance to perform relatively well. Obviously, its valuation seems a little bit high, and we'll need a similar growth into 2010 for it to really come at par with the rest of the market. But being a company that has very good exposure to the construction industry, I think investors are positive on it.
Now, the market seemed pretty upbeat today. What other stocks are you looking at as we get into the week?
Well, the main gainer was Rea Vipingo, which is the largest sisal manufacturer in Africa. Basically, it traded quite some significant volume, over 300,000, not very common for it. But also we saw good appetite coming through Kenya Power, some of the large caps, Safaricom, East African breweries. We really haven't recovered to the levels where we would have wanted to be in terms of trading volume. So it's really difficult to read into some of these gains. Nevertheless, Parliament opened today, and I think we'll wait to see in the next couple of days to see how the president's speech is interpreted.